All right, folks, going live in a minute. Have a good session, everyone. Welcome, everyone. We'll be getting started in just a moment. Thank you all for being here. All right, I see folks logging in. I'm going to wait just a couple seconds and then we'll get started. Thank you to everyone who's joining us. We have a couple of announcements as everyone continues to log in. First, we are recording this session and it will be available here in Excel events for the next 30 days and on the Alliance's YouTube channel after that. Secondly, if you'd like to ask a question during this session, please make sure and use the chat or Q&A area to the right of the viewing window. Finally, if you'd like to access English or Spanish captions or Spanish audio translation, please use the widget below this viewing screen or use the link we've dropped in the chat to access them in a separate browser window. And with that, it looks like we're ready to get started. So I'm going to hand it over to Minerva Delgado to get started.
Hello, everyone. I'm Minerva Delgado with the Alliance to End Hunger, one of your summit organizers. We've reached the final session of the 2025 Hunger Free Communities Virtual Summit. Thank you for spending the day with us. I hope you've learned something new, made new connections, discovered new tools, resources, and especially inspiration to take with you as you continue the work of ending hunger in your community. My head is still spinning from all the terrific content we had today. We got a real sense of the impact of the shutdown, as well as the impact of all of the policy changes we've seen in the food and nutrition space. We got great examples of programs and partnerships that are making a huge difference. And we learned about needed policy reforms across the federal nutrition programs. But what's resonating for me at the moment is the strength and the breadth of our network, all of you. I am profoundly grateful for all of the amazing people featured today who are working under difficult circumstances, sometimes with little or no recognition. We see you. You're an important part of this movement, and together we are strong. It was great to hear from partners that span sectors and disciplines. We know we need to work together to make a difference. Eric Mitchell in the opening session talked about the importance of our multi sector collaborative. And that's what brings me to Instacart. Instacart has really stepped up in this moment. They are our premier sponsor for this event. And now I have the pleasure of introducing Belinda Garza. Belinda is Senior Director of Federal Affairs at Instacart. She began her career in Washington, D.C. as a staff member for her hometown member of Congress from San Antonio, Texas. Since that time, she's worked for Walmart, Univision Communications, and the San Antonio Chamber of Commerce. Belinda serves on the board of Women's High Tech Coalition and was named a top lobbyist by The Hill in 2023 and 2024. Belinda, welcome to the summit.
Thank you so much, Minerva. I'm thrilled to be here with you all today. As Minerva mentioned, I am Belinda Garza, and I serve as Senior Director of Federal Affairs for Instacart. It's an honor to be here with you all at the Alliance to End Hunger Summit and to celebrate the incredible work this organization leads every single day. The Alliance's commitment to bringing together partners across sectors to tackle hunger at its root is not only inspiring, it's essential. As the leading grocery technology company in North America, we're so proud to serve on the Alliance's board and to stand shoulder to shoulder with so many dedicated leaders and advocates on this call. We partner with over 1,800 retailers to reach more than 98% of US households, including 98% of SNAP households. Every day, millions of families turn to Instacart to access the food they need from the local retailers they trust. And together, we're working to ensure that every family has access to the nutritious food they need to live healthy, fulfilling lives. Since our founding, we've always been at the intersection of food and people, and as a result, their health. That's why we launched Instacart Health, a company-wide initiative using our products, platform, partnerships, and policy advocacy to expand food access and deliver healthier outcomes. Since launching, we became the first online grocery marketplace to accept SNAP benefits in all 50 states and Washington, D.C. in 2023. Through our work with the Partnership for a Healthier America, we've helped deliver 10 million servings of fruits and vegetables to families. And we've worked with leading researchers, health systems, and advocacy groups to study and scale what works, from grocery delivery programs serving food deserts to medically tailored grocery interventions. But we know access to food still isn't guaranteed. And while the government has reopened, there is still uncertainty for families. Across the country, food banks continue to see longer lines and higher demand as we head into the holiday season. That reality is forcing too many families to make impossible choices between putting food on the table and paying for other necessities. That's why we recently expanded our Community Carts initiative, an online food drive program that lets anyone donate the exact items their local food bank needs most. Those donations are delivered directly by Instacart shoppers, and we're waiving all fees to make giving as easy as possible. At the same time, we announced up to $5 million in direct financial relief for SNAP families, offering 50% off of grocery orders for active SNAP customers, helping families stretch their budgets and keep fresh, nutritious food on their tables during this time. And while these are meaningful steps to address hunger, we don't do any of this alone. The Alliance to End Hunger is helping lead the way to bring together partners across sectors to advocate for stronger policies, strengthen local organizations, and ensure that every family has the opportunity to thrive. It's through collaborations like this that we can truly build a more resilient food system. So again, thank you to the Alliance for your leadership and for the incredible work you do every single day. We're honored to stand alongside you in the fight to end hunger and to make nutritious food accessible for all.
Thank you, Belinda. And thanks again to Instacart for their continuous support of the Alliance to End Hunger and the Hunger Free Communities Network. Hi, everyone. My name is Aaliyah Farrar, the Alliance's Hunger Free Communities Associate, and it's my pleasure to now announce this year's recipient of the Hunger Free Communities Award. The HFC Award is presented to one partner of the Hunger Free Communities Network who has done outstanding work in the last year to end hunger in their community by reaching underserved populations, addressing equity, creating new innovative programs, and connecting with new partners. I'm very excited to announce that this year's award will be given to Hunger Free Oklahoma. Hunger Free Oklahoma is a statewide nonprofit organization with a vision that all Oklahomans have enough to eat every day. They effectively leverage the power of collaboration to solve hunger by improving systems, policies, and practices. In particular, HFO's Lived Experience and Resource Network, otherwise known as LEARN, represents a groundbreaking approach to anti-hunger work. Now, in its second year, LEARN is the only program in Tulsa helping to systemically incorporate lived experience into food policy and program development. This program's commitment to racial equity, Amplifying lived experience and HFO's overall mission makes them incredibly deserving of this recognition. Accepting this award is Chris Bernard, President and CEO of Hunger Free Oklahoma. Chris is a proud Oklahoma native and became part of the team in December of 2017. With a robust background in policy, advocacy, legislative strategy, and program implementation, Chris brings invaluable expertise to the organization. So thank you, Chris. Congratulations again, and I'm passing it over to you.
Thank you, Aaliyah. And thank you so much for the award, which is actually sitting right behind me. So it's beautiful. We appreciate it. We're very grateful. Thank you to the Alliance. We have been a member of the Alliance since our organization started 9 years ago. Are grateful for the support, the thought partnership, the ability to work through problems together, and the information that they share with us. So thank you for that as well. As was mentioned, our lived experience and resource network, or LEARN, is the program that we really hope to highlight today. It fits with all of our other work, which I'll touch on later, but LEARN is a program that's particularly close to my heart and one that our organization is super proud of. So our staff member, Sarah Smith-Moore, and then support staff work with a cohort of folks through an 8-month program to help them own their stories, learn how to talk about them in a way that's empowering and frankly therapeutic, and then be able to help advise us on how we frame our work. Some crucial parts to this that I think we try and preach across sectors and to everyone we get a chance to talk about is what this really looks like. So one is compensated, right? The expert's time is valuable just like anyone else's. And so we pay them for their time and their expertise. We help cover childcare, we help cover transportation and the real world costs that they incur from participating in these programs. And then we stay connected afterwards as well. So once folks graduate from this program, they become part of a larger cohort and larger community that supports each other, is supported by HFO, but also feeds into our work. We were getting real-time feedback on our crisis response during this shutdown from LEARN cohorts. We were able to connect our LEARN members and graduates to journalists and others across the country to be able to share their story and talk about the real world implications of the shutdown that we all just saw, right? So we had folks who were interviewed by New York Times, by Reuters, by the AP, by local papers here in Oklahoma, all able to say from a real life perspective what this meant when SNAP benefits were ripped out of the hands of hundreds of thousands of Oklahomans and millions of Americans. That is power, right? That's a story I can't tell. And that is also something that can cause us to change the way we think about our work, how we approach our services, and has just been truly a pleasure to watch take place. The last piece I'll say that we view as crucial to the program is we work closely with the licensed clinical social worker to make sure that our lived experts have the support they need as they work through these stories and the trauma that they've all lived through. And we found that to be a crucial part of the success of the program, and for our staff as well, frankly. So could not be more grateful to those lived experts and to our staff who support that program. And what I'd like to do briefly, before I speak a little more, is share some comments from Sarah Hughes, who's a citizen of the Cherokee Nation, a graduate of our LEARN workshop, and who actually attended the summit today. So here's Sarah's experience in her words. LEARN workshop's environment was so diverse, inclusive, and therapeutic. It was validating to be around others who come from a different walk of life, but we have shared experience of food insecurity. It was very informative, and I've always wanted to use my voice for good reasons, and I learned the steps on how to do it properly and effectively. I feel that everyone in LEARN made lasting connections with each other, and even though we don't speak a lot, when we are together, it's like time hasn't passed. We truly planted seeds that are blooming everywhere. Through LEARN workshop and opportunities, I've learned how to turn the shame and trauma with food insecurity into power to speak up, advocate for change, and help shape solutions. I've learned how I own my story and was empowered and protected with the Lived Experts Bill of Rights. Learn taught me how to effectively advocate for change at my daughter's school regarding bullying policies. I come from a long line of resilient people, including those who faced hunger and trauma during the Trail of Tears and kept going. They fought to survive so that I could be here today, raising my babies in resilience with roots in strength, survival, and purpose. Learn has been that community for me, and the effect created healing ripples that will be felt for the next 7 generations of my bloodline. I get to honor my ancestors by fighting just as they did. So anything I say after that probably pales in comparison. But to me, that is the power of what we all do, right? We are working in our own communities, possibly isolated, in times like these, possibly feeling defeated and hopeless because it just seems like the onslaught never ends. Frankly, it's been 10 months of constantly feeling like you're pushing a boulder uphill. And what we need is connection, right? We need to know there are others doing this work, others who believe in this fight, others who can show us a way to do the work better or that we can share our best practices with. And to me, that's what the Alliance brings. And we're very grateful for that. And that's what Learn brings to the folks who have struggled or are struggling with food insecurity. It brings a community, a connection, a knowledge that you're not alone and that you can work together towards something bigger than yourselves. HFO Learn is one of our programs. We help run summer EBT with 5 tribal nations to serve 300,000 children. We run a nutrition incentive program that's one of the largest in the country that serves around 120,000 Oklahomans every 3 months, called Double Up Oklahoma. We do SNAP outreach in contract with our state and with over 400 partners across the state to help connect people to SNAP. We have WIC projects. We have child nutrition projects working on summer meals. We act as the backbone organization to collective impact work around summer meals, and much more. And still, those fights every day, unless we take a moment, we find connection, we find partners to work with, and we find ways to work together towards the cause, can be challenging in times like this. I have found it to be energizing, though you may not see that in me now at the end of this week on a Friday. Energizing, and what keeps me going is taking moments to hear from others who are in the work, who are impacted by the work or who are impacted by these decisions, and understand that we are all in this together, and that if I slow down, somebody else is going to pick back up for a minute, but then I have to jump back in, right? Most recently, the shutdown ends, and we've heard rhetoric coming out of the administration this week that SNAP is quote unquote the most corrupt program in the history of the country. We all know that to be false, right? But it's designed to create a narrative. And without a collective voice, without groups like the Alliance, without all of us connecting and working together, we're at risk of that narrative becoming the main narrative. And so it's incumbent upon all of us to keep our voices strong, to speak out, to continue to do the work and lift up the voices of others, of our lived experts, of our clients, of our employees, of our partners. And luckily, we have networks like the Alliance that can help us do that and amplifies those voices even more while giving us information and advocating in the halls of power. So I recently gave a speech at our own state anti-hunger conference, where I talked about the Serenity Prayer, which is a prayer that's close to my heart, that asks for um, the serenity to accept the things you cannot change, the courage to change things you can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And what's always been interesting to me about that prayer is those things can change depending on how many people I have with me and what my lens is. And I think the more of us there, the more of us working together, the things we can change are that much bigger. And so the wisdom to know how many folks we have with us and to know that together we can change something much larger is what I find myself thinking about more and more every day now, as the obstacles and the barriers to ending hunger seem to be getting larger. And so what I would challenge each of you to do in your work is think about, how do we continue to build the group that we work with? How do we expand it? How do we make it larger so that we can change something that much bigger? How do we build the collective power to give us the wisdom to know we can change anything at a higher level? And with that, I will stop and just say thank you. We're very grateful for the recognition of our work, for the Alliance, and for being able to be a member for so long.
Well, thank you, Chris. It is a pleasure to have you with us today. We so appreciate you and Hunger Free Oklahoma, and congratulations again for all of you are doing. We are incredibly grateful for the partnership. For those of us here at the Alliance to End Hunger, one of the reasons we host this summit is to bring the best practices in addressing food security and nutrition from all over the country. And Hunger Free Oklahoma, I think, provides an important example of the difference our partners can make. So thank you. So at the Alliance to End Hunger, I'm sure you're not going to be surprised to find out that we believe hunger is solvable. We don't have a food shortage problem in America. What's missing is the political will to ensure that everyone has the resources they need to meet their basic needs. The kinds of programs and policy changes highlighted today work. For those of you who are new to the Hunger Free Communities Network and to this conference and want to get more involved, we invite you to check out our virtual booth, learn more about us, explore ways to engage with us, and also view our on-demand video explaining the Hunger Free Community theory of change around collaboration. And now I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Aaliyah, to share more about the Hunger Free Communities Initiative. Aaliyah, over to you.
Thanks, Minerva. So for those who may be joining us for the first time, the Hunger Free Communities Network consists of a diverse array of 75 coalitions in 33 states, all working to address hunger and implement effective solutions tailored to the unique needs of their communities. Minerva and I view ourselves as conveners of these groups and focus on providing opportunities that allow collaboration and bridge partnerships in order to form a productive and inclusive community of practice. And this is all in the hopes that we can create comprehensive solutions that address the root causes of hunger. By joining the network, organizations have the opportunity to leverage resources, expand their knowledge, influence others to create lasting solutions, and of course, build hunger-free communities across the US. In addition to the HFC Summit, our key initiatives include regional in-person convenings that supplement the virtual summit. We know how valuable in-person networking is, and these gatherings provide opportunities for our partners to discuss regional challenges and share successful strategies as well. In the last 2 years, we've been able to hold 4 convenings, starting with the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic region, the Midwest, the South, and we recently concluded our circuit in the Southwest and Western region. So we're very excited for the future of these convenings and hope you'll join the network to know when we'll be in your city next. Also, All HFC partners are eligible for the HFC Award and Zero Hunger Grant funding that just completed its second cycle. These micro grants support initiatives focused on capacity building that are in line with our HFC impact framework. And for the last 2 years, we've been able to fund 10 HFCs at the $10,000 level and are currently raising funds for the third cycle of grants next year. We also conduct online webinars on a quarterly basis to foster knowledge sharing across the network and feature presentations from new and older partners to hear about their work and what's going on in their own communities. These meetings provide a chance to meet new groups within the network and hear policy and alliance updates as needed. Lastly, we're always available for training and technical assistance in areas such as racial equity, community engagement, and coalition building. This support helps partners develop the skills and strategies necessary to implement effective food security initiatives and more. So I want to thank all of our partners in the HFC network for your engagement and participation. And we hope that more groups will join us to create an even bigger and stronger network. And as Minerva mentioned earlier, you can apply to become an HFC network partner on the Alliance website, which is posted on our sponsor booth.
Thanks, Aaliyah. And thank you. I just appreciate you personally for all you do to support the Hunger Free Communities Network and for being such a wonderful partner in this work. I'll wrap up by reminding us what was said this morning by Eric Mitchell, our president here at the Alliance and Hunger. And he reminds us that this is the year of the pivot. And so we are adapting to meet the needs. And we appreciate all of you who are doing that as well. As the federal government retrenches and steps away from its responsibilities to ensure basic food and nutrition needs are met, state and local efforts become even more important, as Chris reminds us. And let's remember Congresswoman Shontel Brown's call to action from this morning, reminding us that hunger is not inevitable, that it's a policy choice, and that ending hunger is also a moral calling. Local action is critical at this time when the federal government is stepping back. And the Congresswoman reminds us to stay loud, stay local, and stay personal. This conference may be winding down, but our shared mission continues. Together, we can make a lasting impact. And we will continue to make those impacts, creating systems and solutions that ensure everyone has access to the food they need to thrive. As we end our program, we know that all of today's content, was a lot for one day. And so this content will be available for any of the concurrent sessions you missed or anything you want to refresh yourself on will be available in Excel events for the next 30 days. So just go to the agenda and make sure to turn on show past sessions to view them. After a month, all of these sessions will be accessible on the Alliance to End Hunger's YouTube channel. So a heartfelt thanks to Excel Events, Interprify, and the fundraising event company, our event planners, especially Mary Elizabeth, who has been an incredible support and partner in planning this event. We also extend our deepest gratitude to all of our sponsors. We heard from Instacart earlier, but other sponsors include Amazon, Share Our Strength No Kid Hungry, Sodexo Stop Hunger Foundation, DoorDash, Black Professionals in Food and Agriculture, Congressional Hunger Center, Islamic Relief USA, Mazon, a Jewish Response to Hunger, National Grocers Association, and finally, the Special Contributions Fund of the Princeton Area Community Foundation on behalf of the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation. Thank you to all of our sponsors for everything they do to support the Alliance and the Hunger Free Communities Network. And their generous support has made this summit possible and strengthened our collective efforts. So as we wrap, we will remind you that soon you'll be receiving a very short survey, and we really hope you fill that out. We would love your feedback. We want to know what you think. We also want to help to keep improving this event. We want to know what topics you want to hear and your impressions of the day. So please, please, please take a moment to fill out that survey when you get it. And finally, a thank you to all of you who joined us today, all of our supporters and hunger fighters, for being an essential part of our journey. We look forward to seeing you at our upcoming events, and we appreciate you joining us today. Thank you, and we'll see you soon.